You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This is episode 112 of the Wisdom by Wessa show on the Horse Radio Network. This is Mike Donnell.
I'm Casey Wilbanks-Coletti.
And this is Sophia Yagela. Welcome to Wisdom by Wessa on the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This podcast is brought to you by the Western and English Sales Association, WESA, which provides the world's largest trade events for retailers, manufacturers, and sales representatives of the equestrian industry. In this podcast, we feature exclusive interviews with noteworthy Western and English personalities, retailers, and exhibitors who you've always wanted to talk to. Don't miss out on all the news for manufacturers and retailers in the equine industry. It's a special day for Wisdom by Wessa.
A very special day because today marks the 5th anniversary of Wisdom by Wessa. So thank you to Mike and Casey for making every show so fun and informative, the Horse Radio Network and Equine Network for all the efforts behind the scenes, and the guests for opening up to us and sharing all of their stories. And of course, a big thanks to our listeners for the support and keeping us going.
Yes, happy 5-year anniversary to you, Sophia, and everybody at WESA. It's really been fun, as you mentioned. We have a really great time recording these. I feel so. I won't speak on behalf of Mike, but it's been great, and I've thoroughly enjoyed all 112 episodes. So what do we have planned for the upcoming shows?
So together, we're getting ready for the August WESA Trade Show. So we'll hear from more exhibitors and retailers, and then we'll have a show special during August, followed by a great announcement by one of our members. So stay tuned and subscribe to Wisdom by Wessa on your favorite podcast players to never miss an episode.
DIBA True and its parent company, DIBA Shoes, are yet another example of how success can grow from adversity. Suzanne Lorenz joins us today to tell us how and why her father started the company and how the family guides its success today. Suzanne Lorenz, thank you so much for joining the Wisdom by Wessa show.
Thank you for having me. And if I remember correctly, I should be saying congratulations. This is the 5th anniversary, and I'm honored to be part of that. Thank you guys so much. Well,
thank you very much. 5 years we've been doing this. We have had a chance to interview a lot of successful family-owned businesses, but each of them have a little different history and different reasons why the family got in the business, different ways that they've been successful, different ways that they divided and conquered the way they go about doing business. You clearly have a successful family business that really started because your father had a great job and then suddenly didn't and decided to start a family business. But what I want you to do is take us through that. We have a lot of retailers, who watch the show or listen to the show, and I think they'd be interested in seeing how you managed to hold the business together and make it grow and introduce a new line.
Absolutely. So back in the 80s, my dad, his whole life, all he was in was footwear, and he worked for a big company. That company downsized and closed the division he was working for. And he had 3 girls and was married, and we were all at different ages. And so as a parent, you either sink or swim, right? And so he knew that he needed to do something to provide for his family, and he wanted to do something on his own so that he didn't ever have that panic situation again in his lifetime that he was going to lose everything, right? So he began importing a brand footwear out of Europe. And at the same time, I was in college, and I came home from college and began working with him because I was in the fashion to merchandising program in college. And so I came home, and it just made sense for me to start helping him. And we began the company in 1989, and we were importing a Dutch design that was being produced in Italy, and we were distributing it in the Americas. And a few years in, we decided that we would take our product and begin producing some similar product at a lower price point out of Brazil so that we could mass market a little bit more. And so that's kind of how we began and launched the DIBA True brand, or what was originally the DIBA brand, and then morphed into the DIBA True brand of leather footwear. And then so that kind of came about in 93, which was about the same year that my husband came on to work with us. And then that quickly grew, and we brought my sister on in 94 as our COO. And we continued with that as a family business and grew that into we own a 50,000 square foot warehouse and office now. So at that point, we moved our production down to Brazil to sort of provide a lower price point, a little bit more mass market leather product. And then we were still distributing here in the U.S. At that same point, my husband came on in 93 to kind of start with that division. And then my sister came on in 94 to do our COO department. And she has been sort of spearheading that ever since. And my husband is now our national sales manager. And about 4 years ago, we launched a division where we do third-party logistics for other footwear companies, mostly new companies to the United States, since we are sort of a 30-year versed company in importing. So we started the 3PL division, and now 4 years ago, our son came in and is running that division. So we're into our third generation here as being a family-owned company.
Absolutely, no doubt, it is a family-owned company. Now, one of the things you decided to do, well, two things. One, you introduced DIBA True, and I want to talk about that. And then you sensed that there might be a market in the Western world, and you began with WESA. Let's first talk about the introduction of the DIBA True brand.
Yes, so we did the DIBA brand originally, which stands for Dutch design, because our original partner was from Holland, Italian ingenuity, because it was being produced originally in Italy, and then Brazilian manufacturing, because we moved it to Brazil, and then American distribution. So it's DIBA, D-I-B-A, and that's how it started. And then I want to say in maybe 2010 to 2012, we rebranded to DIBA True, because the brand sort of morphed into this real life footwear brand for women who don't necessarily want to be the forefront of fashion, but also want to be trendy. And then about at the same time, we started to sort of see the Western trend come into fashion in sort of a more mainstream way. And I think that's kind of how the brand incorporated the Western to begin with. And then the brand sort of took off in the Southeast and the South. And the Western thing just was a really big fit. And the retailers that carry predominantly Western product began carrying our footwear and did really, really well with it. And I think that's kind of how we just organically became a little bit in the Western market.
Well, and I think, and we've learned from the stories that we have done, that everybody has begun to realize that whether you're a rancher or a rodeo contestant or whatever you do, you don't wear boots all day long every day. And so a lot of companies have begun to realize that the Western retail world was looking for other products that they could sell to the same people who they sold their boots to. And it's been a very good opportunity for those companies who not only saw the opportunity, but learned how to go ahead and make it work. And you and I talked when we talked a week or so ago about your take and your approach to the Western retailer.
Yes. So the Western retailer is not going to look at our entire collection, right? Because we're more of a fashion brand. However, we have such a big following that we gear our product development to always have some staple items that will look at the Western market. And as we wanted to go after and capture that retailer, we kind of asked around in the industry, and that's how we found out that WESA was sort of the forefront of the retail mecca for retailers to come and look at that show. And so our first experience with WESA was actually the last show that you had at the Denver market. And that's how we very first became exposed to WESA, was just sort of finding out that you guys were pretty much the it show to be at if you wanted to break into that Western market.
Well, I mean, that's been the case. We like to think that. I want to bring Casey in here pretty soon, too, because A, she has boots. B, she has shoes and footwear that aren't boots. She is fashion forward. She is a fashion follower.
We could probably work his wife into making out pretty good in these situations. I've got to start thinking on this and get him to start buying some of these products for his wife.
That's right. That's right.
There we go. Well, I'd love to talk about your spring and summer line. Obviously, there are many different styles, and I'll tell you, I'm from the Western world, but I would not limit myself to any of your shoes. I could find something to wear with all of them. But if you would like to talk about just some of the products that you would consider part of your, maybe more Western line in your spring and summer footwear.
Absolutely. One of our core products that we've had in our collection for the last 6 years is called the Walnut Grove and the West Haven. And although they're both in the booty category, they are boots that are done with hand finish, so it becomes a little bit vintage looking. Mm-hmm. And the Walnut Grove is a little shorter, and the West Haven comes up a little higher on your ankle. But both of them we have found to be a ginormous crossover for us. Even though they're booties, they do spring and summer really well because the girls wear them with their short denims or the dresses. As a fashion person, I'm super happy to see dresses trending again. Even the floral dresses just are so beautiful. And those boots particularly really complement that style for fashion really well. Obviously, they do well in the summer, but as far as our core product, those are our two leading products year round, year in, year out.
So cute. And I'm looking at them right now. The Walnut Grove, and there's many different colors. Is so cute and kind of have like a washed out look or a rustic look. But just two to the right of that on the website, the Honeysuckle. It is like an open toe, but still kind of like a booty, if you will, but also a sandal. Love that. I would definitely wear that in the Western industry.
Casey, it's funny that you say that. That is, and as I said, that the vintage material has been our number one selling look for about 6 years, but this is our first year we have ever done them in a summer sandal, that material in a summer sandal. And we were always nervous because the sandal retails a little higher than our normal summer sandal retail price. So it's around, I think, $159, if I'm not mistaken. And we were really nervous about that because we like to give our customers a good quality product at a really nice price point. And the Honeysuckle just blew out the door for us. If you're always chasing one category every year. I feel like there's always one thing that you're like, oh, I wish I had thousands more, we would have sold them. And that Honeysuckle, ironically enough that you just chose that one, that particular style is the shoe this season that we would chase after because it did so well. Yes. Exactly.
Oh, I hate that I have good taste. It does not work in my favor ever. I have really
my
good
husband
taste.
tells me that all the time.
Yes. Oh, I mean, I've slipped on a few things before, but nonetheless, so one of the things I do want to mention, besides the fact that I love the shoe, when you go to a shoe on your website, great pictures. So like you get to really look at the shoe. There's literally like 8 different angles of your shoe and then a cute little video. If I'm a retailer, I'm thinking this is great. Or even these are all the things that I'd love to see how it's going to look with jeans or a dress, which both are featured on this particular page of your shoe. So maybe talk a little bit about that and the fact that surely isn't an accident. You're doing that on purpose.
Exactly. Right. Amongst one of the many hats that I wear, because being a family-owned company, we sort of all do everything, right? I oversee our marketing department. And when I first started doing that, I had no background at all in that. And over the course of the last 10 years, I've learned a lot. And one of the things is the more information you can give a consumer, whether it's your retailer or the end consumer, it encourages them and gives them all of the information they need to secure a good feeling when they're buying your product. And so we have developed a really great way of doing a photo shoot and taking all of those images and providing that for both our retailers if they want to use the information, as well as the end consumers on our direct-to-consumer page. So everything that you see is available both for our retail base as well as the end consumer base. So we do that just to provide that type of information.
Yeah, it's great. And if anybody's a shopper like myself, there's matching belts. We can't leave that. We can't leave that out. They're so cool. I'll let you talk about them, but
yeah. So I'm glad you brought up the belts. We do belts and bags, and the really neat thing about the belts and bags are a few years ago, I was just like, gosh, we use all this leather and there's got to be remnants, and like, what could we do with the remnants? And I spoke to the gentleman who is our agent in India, and I said, could you make belts out of the remnant material from the boots?
Oh,
and he's like, well, sure, let's see what we can do. And so all of the belts and the handbags are made from the remnant materials left over from the footwear production.
So they literally
it's kind
match.
Of a cool, yes, they literally match. So it's really kind of cool. And then the belts in particular are marked so that they go from a size US women's 14. They're marked to go down to a size 4. So all you need is a screwdriver. It becomes 2 pieces. You poke the hole, you slice it, and it's your size. So it's sort of a one size fits all. And we did that so that our retailers don't have to carry 17 different sizes, right, in 4 different colors. Your investment up front is a lot less. So you could carry 2 charcoal, 2 tan, and 2 whites. And then as you sell them, call and reorder them, and we can fill them in. We did that specifically because we wanted to make the program doable for our retailers.
Truly brilliant, because even as a consumer, when I order belts online, and it'll always be like small, medium, large, and they never fit.
Right.
No matter what, no matter how good the size guide is. Are you a wholesaler looking to get into more stores? Equine Industry News is here to help your equine business grow. It's our purpose. As the only business-to-business magazine connecting the equine industry in North America, we help wholesalers tell their story to tack, feed, and Western stores while providing industry knowledge to help all equine businesses flourish. Tack, feed, and Western store owners get the industry insights they need to bring more customers in from field experts that also understand the uniqueness of the equine industry. Gallop forward with Equine Industry News by visiting equineindustrynews.com today. So I never thought of that. That obviously a benefit to your retailers and the consumer.
Yes, exactly. And that's the whole, like when we, one of the things that I learned from my dad from day one was if you treat your retailers like their family, then your retailers will continue to come back to you. And so I have always instilled that in my sales. The way that I sell is that I would never want to provide something for my retailer that would ever hurt them. And so everything that we develop, every shoe that we, the shoes come from India as a sample, and we do some test fits in the office. And everything that we put on, we're like, okay, how is this going to feel if we walk? And how is this going to feel if we're running or we're sitting? And so we really try to provide a product that's going to be the best product we can for our retailers, because that way we know they're going to come back to us. And if we can't, then we just tell them, listen, this style didn't make the cut because we couldn't get the fit right, or the leather came in wrong. We want to always be a good partner for our retailers.
That's a good word for it, a partner. I think there's a lot of things in business, right? If we looked at it more as a partnership, would go a lot further. So commend you for that.
I mean, you're talking about retailers, partners, all that. And we got a lot of retailers who listen to this show and talk to other retailers. If I'm a retailer, I'm not carrying your line, but I'm interested in expanding my footwear product line to include more women's products. How do I get in touch with you? What do you need from me? What requirements need I meet, if anything, to be one of your retailers? Let's talk about that side of it a little bit.
Terrific question. So we are always at the WESA show. We actually have a permanent showroom at the Dallas market on the 15th floor. However, during WESA, we take a temporary space on the 11th floor because our 15th floor it doesn't tend to get as much traffic. And so we take a booth at the Wessa on the temporary floor of 11. So that's where you could find us in August and January. And then other than that, we have our permanent showroom on the 15th floor that is open during all of the apparel markets within Dallas. So we're there 5 times a year. So we'll be there at the end of June and again in August, October, and then back again in January. So that's, if you want to see our shoes in person and go through it that way, those are the places that you can see that. And then also you can just email me at Suzanne@DIBATrue.com. And I'm helpful. That way I can, kind of direct you. It's just, there's only 3 of us on the sales team. And so it's myself, my husband is a sales manager, and then we have a Southeast rep that's based in Atlanta, Chris Dupree. So those are the 3 ways to reach us. And as far as requirements, we are just a case pack brand. So we have 1 case pack, 12 pairs. That's it. Those are the requirements. Obviously, we would prefer you to do a little bit of a collection when you bring it in. But if you are one of the retailers who's like, I just don't know and I just want to try it, we're good with 1 case, 12 pairs.
Hopefully they'll be reaching out to you to begin to add DIBA True to what they offer to their customers.
Terrific. I appreciate you asking that.
This has been a fun conversation. We like to talk to family businesses. I will ask one other question. Any other family members due to join the crew?
No, not at this moment. I don't think so. I think we've sort of overstayed our welcome with that. No, I'm kidding. You never know. We have a daughter, but our daughter is medically minded, science minded. So she for sure is not coming on. She actually has no clue what we do and doesn't understand it.
And doesn't want to know.
Right. So as for now, I think we'll sit tight with the members that we have. And my dad still is at 82. He'll be 83 July 4th. He's a July 4th baby. And he still comes in every day into the office and, kind of walks around and checks on everybody and sees if anybody needs anything. He's a great pillar in our office community. So there's about 35 of us that are here on a daily basis in office in St. Louis, and talk about, a man who has a plethora of knowledge. And so it's great that he's here still every day so that we can sort of check in with him if we have, how did you handle this kind of a question.
Well, and I would imagine he's extremely proud of the rest of the family and all the rest of the employees on what has become his dream many, many decades ago. And so with that, I want to thank you for being on the show. We've enjoyed chatting with you. We wish you great success. And again, thanks for being on Wisdom by Wessa.
Thank you guys so much. And again, happy 5th anniversary. Hopefully I will see you all in August.
Okay. The show notes and links from today's show can be found at thewisdombywessa.com. And of course, we'd like to hear your feedback. If you have any, there's a contact link on the website.
The Wisdom by Wessa show will be published on the 15th and 30th of every month. You can listen on most of your favorite podcast players, and you can also listen on the wisdombywessa.com website. Be sure to visit all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com. Wessa, where the industry meets.